The following episode will contain spoilers. You have been warned.
You're listening to Cinema IRL, the podcast that throws you into the movie and asks the question, what would you do? What happens when a director watches a little too much Blair Witch Project and says, hell, I can do that with a haunted house? You get the movie Amber and Scott are discussing today, House on Eden. And now, Cinema IRL.
I wish I could switch places for just one day.
What would you do?
Put yourself in my shoes.
How do we handle this?
What would you do?
Put yourself in my position.
What would you do?
Now it's your turn.
Well, as you pointed out, if we turned hearing the phrase "that's insane" into a drinking game, we would have left without a pulse.
Oh my gosh, so plastered. So much alcohol consumption if that was a drinking game.
We're dead.
Yeah, our main character, Chris, definitely said, that's insane. This is insane. How insane? A lot.
There's a lot of insanity.
Yes. And there was, actually, she was saying things that were insane that really weren't insane, but the movie did.
It got there.
The movie got very insane.
It got there.
It did. This episode, we are talking about House on Eden. Chris, Selena, and Jay set out to film their next paranormal investigation, but first they stop off at an abandoned house deep in the woods where a malevolent ancient spirit resides. Now, they don't know that that spirit is there. They just know that basically they are ghost hunters of sorts, and nobody seems to know about this house, but Chris, our lead paranormal investigator here, finds this house. No one knows about it. It's just like, let's go check out the house. Well, and not knowing anything about it. And that house definitely gave them some good video. It was filmed in the same genre as the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah, I was about to say, if I could do one thing over, is I would take Dramamine before I watched that film.
Yeah, definitely a lot of swinging around as they're carrying their cameras through the woods.
Oh, yeah.
And definitely Blair Witch vibes in the fact that they are a camera crew. They're out in the middle of woods. They see these signs of things being weird, and yet they still keep plowing forward. And we see a lot of what happens through those cameras that are set up around the house and the forest.
Yeah. For sure. It's that was weird. I don't know. I think what just happened to them in the end is what's known as an occupational hazard.
Yeah, sometimes you get some good footage for your YouTube channel or wherever you post, and I don't know, sometimes you die a violent death.
Yeah, or I don't know, just end up in a giant bonfire circle with a bunch of people, or chewing off your own arm, or
oh yeah, she was scraping at it. So Chris is our main investigator, and Selena is her partner in crime. And then we have Jay, who is the camera guy, who initially they all seem like three people who get along. But what turns out, we learn over time, is that Chris is the boss, and Selena and Jay they don't particularly like Chris. And they especially don't like that they were going to a certain place to cover a certain story. And Chris says, no, I want to make this stop first. Nobody knows about this. Let's go here. So they go traipsing through the woods, and they finally found this house, which is furnished, dust-free, but has no one living there.
I could see the other two being a little angry, especially at the point when they realize that their lives are possibly in jeopardy, or at the very least there is something weird going on. Yeah,
so they go walking through the woods, and first of all, I'm thinking, okay, it is way too late. They don't know exactly where this is, and it's getting darker and darker, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, no, you turn around, you don't know where the house is.
Oh yeah.
So they finally get to the house. It's dark, and they look around, and some weird things happen while they're there, and then they say, okay, let's get out of here. We'll come back tomorrow when it's light. And then, I don't know, they all mysteriously pass out because they wake up the next morning in the house not knowing really what happened after they said, we're going to go. And then they said, okay, well, let's just dig in. There's something happening here. And yeah, there's something happening there.
Yeah, I mean, they got a little lost at first. On a what would you do if I'm going to go somewhere which is in the middle of freaking nowhere, and I think there's even the remotest chance that I could get lost, which easily there.
Yeah.
I'm downloading all the area maps to my phone ahead of time.
Yeah, because they did have smartphones.
And I'm making sure that GPS is, I mark where I park, or I mark anything else I see on there.
Well, and when you're in the forest in an area like that where they actually didn't have a signal,
You don't need a signal.
there's nothing wrong with good old-fashioned, putting flags on things and markers along the way like hikers have done for many, many years to be able to retrace their steps back.
Yeah, I mean, the S in GPS is satellite.
So
like, you don't need a cell signal. It works from anywhere as long as you have the maps downloaded first. If you don't, that can be a problem.
well, and unfortunately, their problem wasn't getting back to the car because they decided to stay.
Well, it was at first. Like, at first they were trying to kind of go back, but then realized they weren't sure where it was. And then when they realized, okay, well, we're kind of screwed here. It's dark. We haven't found the car yet. We're just going to
I have no recollection of any of that.
We're just going to proceed forward.
I did not see that. So I'm not sure if you imagined something or if I fell asleep for a moment. So we have weird things happening in the house, and one of the weird things that happens early on is Selena starts talking in tongues and being in some sort of weird trance. And even after that happens, they decide to stay. Let me tell you, what would you do if my coworker was in some sort of weird trance and speaking in some sort of weird language? Yeah, does that get you a lot of clicks? Yeah, but is it scary as heck? Yeah, I'm not sticking around to film that.
I mean, they wrote off the first one as sleepwalking, but even if you're sleepwalking and sleep talking, you're not generally talking in tongues.
Yeah, and then that escalated over time until Selena was actually clawing at her arm so much that, there was meat and bone and everything was exposed, which is...
Heck, at the time when they used the AM/FM radio and used her, like blindfolded her and had her talk through, about the time that the voice started to get a deep echo to it, like one of those sinister echoes, I'm like, oh, hell no. I am out. Out.
So Jay, our camera person, after being berated by Chris of like, I don't know why I even bring you here. I have to set up the camera myself. He gets fed up. He goes outside, and then he mysteriously disappears. What would you do if you were out in the middle of the woods, you were filming this thing, and things started to get scary, and you wanted to leave? Jay went out to smoke a cigarette. I would go out with the biggest flashlight I could find and freaking get to the car.
Yeah.
Because even the woods are scary. Like, you're just because you want to get out of the house because bad things are happening in the house, but the woods are scary too.
Yeah, it's clear that there's a problem in the area, but the problem's centralized in the house. So get away from the house.
Yeah, it's funny because when the Blair Witch Project came out, it was before social media. And this film, although there's many similarities, they're doing this because, it's not necessarily documentary filmmakers, but they probably have, some sort of YouTube channel, and they're, going to places and making films. And I'm not jeopardizing my life for clicks and likes and subscribes.
Yeah, and I kind of like how committed they were to the whole thing. Like, it wasn't that they were making a movie and the movie had these very shaky clips. It's that they're all using their real names, which we find out in the credits. Like, apparently Scary AF actually is their production company. And again, I'm not saying this is for a second that this is real or anything like that, but
it did follow the formula for Blair Witch Project of making it seem like the people in the film were real, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's clearly Blair Witch inspired. So, I'd get the hell away from the house. It's a problem. As soon as, I don't know, when all three of you simultaneously pass out with no memory whatsoever, and you wake up the next morning, one of you's talking in tongues, the other one has clearly pissed or worse themselves.
Yeah, and it turns out that is because the spirit that resides there actually, one of their superpowers, so to speak, is to create secretions in men.
Yeah.
So that is all related. Yeah, it's, I understand that someone who is basically a ghost hunter of sorts or a paranormal investigator, they are thrill seekers who are going to push the envelope.
Well,
so they're not just going to up and go.
I mean, it depends. Are you a thrill seeker for the clicks? Or a ghost hunter for the clicks, or do you believe in ghosts? Because I believe that there are ghost hunters out there who do not believe in ghosts.
Well, there was,
but they know how to produce content.
There was a death within the last 2 weeks. I normally don't date our episodes, but this is relevant, of a paranormal investigator who went on a tour of a house that, oh gosh, was the house connected to Annabelle, I think? But yeah, he went to the house on a tour and he died.
On the tour?
I think at the house, yeah. But do I believe in ghosts? I do believe in some sort of spirits. And I don't know what that looks like or feels like. I think sometimes if someone said they felt a presence here in certain things, if it was someone that I knew, I would believe them. Now, if it's someone who has a shingle outside their house and, has all kinds of gadgets hooked up under their table to make things simulate a presence of someone, obviously there's a lot of shysters out there. But to say that we are all that there is, I don't know if I buy into that, but I don't know where my line is when it comes to paranormal and ghosts and spirits. But I do believe in some degree of something.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they look like Casper. I don't think they look like Slimer. I mean, we've had discussions on this. Like, I know that there are spirits around us. Like, I don't think I know it. I didn't used to know it. But at a certain point, when you see enough things that you can't explain any other way, eventually you got to be like, okay, you got my attention now. But yeah, I don't think they're a form that the human brain can comprehend.
And there is a difference. So if we're talking about someone who believes in all this, there is definitely a distinction between malevolent spirits
and the haunted mansion. Yeah,
I mean, there's
Friendly
good and
ghosts.
bad. Just like in the human realm, in the spirit realm, there's good and bad too. So, a spirit might need help or need your help or be there to help you, or it might be there to hurt you. And the ones in the house on Eden were definitely there to hurt.
Yeah, I mean, in my world, they're mostly there for helping, but I suppose hurting could be a thing, or maybe if somebody died in a particularly bad way at somebody else's hands, they might be like, I want to get revenge.
So another what would you do is the fact that they are headed toward a cemetery, a different destination. And Chris brings it on them that, like, we're going to make this other stop. And she's obviously the boss. We learn that later on. But Selena and Jay aren't thrilled with the plan changing. And Selena, who does the show with Chris, is like, I haven't had a chance to investigate this and research it and look into it on my own. I don't know where we're going. I don't want to go. And had Selena actually put her foot down, she could have learned more about the death of someone who passed away near the house 60 years ago and probably dug into the fact that, there is something there. So, what would you do?
Well, Chris knew about the death.
Yeah, no, Chris told him about it. But
Yeah.
the point was is Selena didn't. And had she known where they were stopping, she could have researched that and maybe figured out more about that other than just flying by the seat of their pants, which didn't end well for any of them.
Yeah.
I mean, what would you do if you're in a situation where the boss wants to make a change and you do not feel good about it?
Well, I mean, that's a job.
It is. But you know what? It's also, I mean, they're out in the middle of nowhere.
I mean, it seems like they're probably generally out in the middle of nowhere-ish for the things that they do. Cemeteries and spooky haunted places and things of that nature. So I feel like that's probably part of their normal job. I mean, it really boils down to, do I think that I am in physical jeopardy?
Well, and also just trusting your gut. Like, they didn't want to do it. They didn't want to do it. But, you know, like you said, it's their job, so they did. Well, but their gut, Selena's gut was like, yeah, no, can we come back and do this later? Can we do it after we do our thing? I want to look into it. Well, and they both acquiesced, and I don't know, they died.
I mean, they did end up contacting, I guess, 2 friends who are...
fellow ghost hunters.
Yeah, paranormal experts. And they're like, if anyone's heard of this, it'd be them. And when they hadn't heard of it, then Selena got excited. They're like, ooh, okay, this is different.
You think you're going to get a scoop that nobody else has done or covered, and that will be the clickiest video of them all.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think she was pressured. She was won over.
I mean, so what would you do if you're walking through the woods? And this is where I started having some Blair Witch flashbacks as well. You start seeing things in the woods. Like, for instance, you see a bunch of sticks piled up, kind of like in a tent shape. When I saw that, I immediately thought of the dolls that are hanging from the trees in Blair Witch. And I know you haven't seen it, which is a massive gap in your movie viewing history, which we have to remedy.
I have many of those.
But when you see things, and maybe this just comes from me watching many horror movies, but when you see weird things in the woods that have to be human made, there's something happening in those woods, whether it's ritualistic sacrifice or some sort of voodoo or spirit activity or whatnot. If you see human made things that are weird or somehow culty feeling in the forest, get the heck out of there. What would I do? I would go running to my car.
Yeah, I mean, I think...
Because it's not scary on its own, but what it means is scary.
I think you know me on this. I like to enjoy life and do various things, but I also do live under the... I live under YOLO, but not in the way you're thinking it. A lot of people say, YOLO, might as well do this. And I'm like, YOLO, you only have one life. Don't screw it up. Like, I get that, but if you die, it's done.
Proceed with caution. You only have one life.
Yeah. So, no. If I see some sus crap out there, especially when you get into human, like things that have to be made by humans or presumptively things that have to be made by humans, that, there's something going on here I do not know about, and I do not want to find out the hard way that it was something bad.
There are some messed up humans out there, and sometimes they do weird things in the woods.
We hope you enjoyed our episode. Thank you for listening. And to catch all the new episodes, please subscribe. We release 2 to 3 episodes weekly, so we'll have new content regularly. Until next time.